Okay. Fuck. That wasn't supposed to happen. Finally, Botrix fucking showed up to a damn stream on time. Let's go. Botrix has successfully joined the channel. Oh yeah? Boy, do I fucking hope so. Now, I'm 30 minutes late again. Because, look, sometimes people come first, right? Sometimes people come first. And sometimes I'm people. Now, anyway. Blocks are nice. Hi. Nope. What do you mean, nope? In reference to what? Shadow frowns. What is up? It's me, Backpack. Oh. Okay. Welcome. I'm breaking down this thing that I made. As my, you know, hey guys, look, I'm making a Pride Month flip sort of deals. Because, honest answer, I needed the clout. I need the clout. I need to show the heads who listen to this music on the daily that I got the swag as well. The bass patch on this is crazy. It kind of isn't. It's like whatever. You need it. Yeah, I mean, I do. Because if you look at the EP that I released directly before this, there is no fucking motion whatsoever. I mean, more than like a random, but I'm not a random. I'm fembread. Like, come on. I got a little bit of ego about that on some Chalamet shit, right? So, like, you know, I'm not bad at what I do, and I'm trying to show that to people. And when I pour a lot of effort into a project, release it, and then, like, doesn't really go where you want it to in terms of motion, it can kind of sting, and then you might be tempted to give into a trend or something. And this was one of those times where I'm like, fuck it, I'll do it. I'll hit a backflip and sneak the audio in your song, lol. Maybe. And I'm just like, fuck it, I'll give into the trend. Also because I can acknowledge when something's simply fun to do, and I think that this would have been fun to do, and I was right. When I was making it, because it's a flip of an already established song and I already have, like, you know, ideas to where I want to take it, like, I had this sample planned for so long. The Blink-182, nobody likes you when you're 23, like, I had that planned for so long for when I turned 23, which I did. And I'm like, okay, well, I already have all the ideas in my head, and so it's pretty easy to just go and just add shit, just, you know, frantically just fucking put shit down, you know, stick with what I know, not really reinvent the wheel, but, like, you know, do so in a way that's, like, just kind of intuitive to me and fun to me, which is how I made my first Daria track ever. Like, it's the same thought process, when it was fun to just, you know, have an idea and just go, you know, and not really worry too hard about, like, how I'm doing it, and just kind of do it. Which, to make it sound good, you can only really do if you're good. You know? Otherwise it's you know, results may vary, right? It's one of those don't try this at home sort of deals. But without further ado, let's get into it, right? Now, I do a thing where I just play ahead. I'm going to control N because I'm going to give this project to my members. If you're a channel member, you do get FLPs. Although, for those of you who are members and you're wondering where the last 2 FLPs are for the last 2 songs in the EP, I didn't get around to it yet. There's not really much demand. People aren't asking me, like, yo, where's that? So I kind of just forget and just, like, you know, I'll do it later. But you get FLPs if you're a channel member. It's cool. Anyway, play it start to finish as not only a reminder to keep it fresh in your head, but also because I want to listen to it. Pardon me. I want to listen to it. And maybe there are people joining the stream who haven't heard it yet, right? So you can get context as to what it is that we're doing here. Did I... Oh no, I turned this off and I have this... There's a bit going on. Wait. Hold on. Did I make a mistake? A little bit. Did make a little bit of a mistake. This is supposed to be on. Let's just pretend it's on. And it probably sounds the same. It probably was on when it rendered, but whatever. Anyway... Let's do that.
Oh, you like dick?
Wait. I need to put the scroll wheel like right here, or the playhead like right there, and then hit stop.
Oh, you like dick? Oh, hell no. You are you. Nobody likes you when you're she want to is a dick.
I was just kidding. Come on. You guys know I was just kidding, right?
Yeah. All right. Cool. So that's the song. A couple of little tidbits, or maybe like one or two. Yeah, just two. The outro was an alt reveal. If you know who Fakey is, that's me. Although most people already knew. That's not really news. Also, the key of the song, it's in... what note is that? Why is it fucking... F sharp minor. I made a lot of shit in F sharp minor recently, which would basically be... Was that A? Yeah, it's A. Or A major. If you were to take this song and then speed it up to match the BPM of the original, the keys match. Because I just took this and then I slowed it to 180, which puts it in F sharp minor. So the keys are exactly the same. Just, you know, the BPM's apart. If you resample it, then put it in like, I think it's like 190 something point something something something. It's some stupid shit. But they're in the same key, which is a nice little fun fact. So yeah. Anyway, we go top down, left to right, and I guess we'll go with this intro first, right? This fucking...
Oh, you like dick? Oh, hell no. You are you.
So, for this, I did have to manually make it longer. You know what I mean? Like, I added some repetition. So, O, U, WAV. The hell? Or I guess the original is an MP3, isn't it? MP3. Yeah.
Oh, you like dick? Oh, hell no. You are you one of them, bitch.
Right? That's the original. And then the edited version.
Oh, you like dick? Oh, hell no. You are you one of them, bitch.
Just slightly longer. I was gonna make it even longer, but like, whatever, you know. I'm gonna be like repitching it anyway to make it sound funnier. I just took some of these, and you can see it's on generic, so I just kind of, you know, put it next to each other. Very simple, very, very simple stuff. And then I left it on resample when I, you know, changed the pitch knob, which I'm pretty, it's fucking very rudimentary stuff. And then have to kind of like guess where it would land so that the bitch would land exactly on the car
Oh,
crash.
you like dick? Oh hell no. You are you.
That took a bit of trial and error, but worth it. If I play it from here, it like fucking kills itself. So let me just fucking mute it. That is pretty funny. I mean, it's fitting. It's fitting. I just looked for a sound that was already on my computer, and there it appeared, just right before my very eyes. So, awesome. That solves that problem. That was like the last thing I did as an intro. You know, I just worked on the actual song more than the intro because I think it's more important. But yeah, so there's a couple of things going on. So step one is I made like a couple of different variations of like, well, first I started with this super saw, which only came into play in the second half. Don't even worry about that shit. You know, and I made, so I guess since this comes first, I'll talk about this first. This is me working as fast as I can and bullshitting, and I'll explain why. Because it's very simple, right? You just start with the, it doesn't get much further than that. And then like the middle part is, let me get rid of this, and then we can go ahead and mute this. And then we can mute this. I don't know how to explain the thought process behind making something like that. I just know scales, and I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know. I can't give a melody making crash course and give you tips and tricks on that, because for me it's all like in my brain, right? Voice, yeah, all that. And like the top half is like just doing a da 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 da. You know, very simple stuff. At least I think so. Or is unmute? There it is. Though usually when I'm making something like this, I would take the stuff that's faster and then make it higher. So let me, as a thought experiment, 2 octaves and then move it down an octave. Which is kind of cool, but like, I don't know. I just kind of like this more. Right. During Pride Month breakdown, this is, yeah, it's levels of inception you wouldn't believe. All right, so now we can go into like how the sausage actually was made, like the processing and stuff behind the sound design. Which, again, is not complicated. It's 2 oscillators an octave apart, 8 voices. Not very detuned, as you can hear. And just some release on it with, like, a bit of an envelope. Is it Pride Month? It is Pride Month, yoinker splinker. You should leave a like because it's Pride Month. No OTT. I'm not really a huge fan of OTT. Even for a sound like this, I wouldn't use OTT. Because I'm such a contrarian. But the way I decided to process it was focus on the bass, which I don't know why the EQ's here. I just kind of bullshit it. I think it's meant to be EQ for the other patch, and I just like slapped this pattern on that. But whatever, right? I am bit crushing it as an automation, as like an intro. Wait. as like a very cheap sort of transition, because you know it's a pretty easy way to get a nice sort of sweep without really sweeping. And then we process it normally. And what I mean by that is we start with some heavy compression. You know, and I have to turn the gain down so that when it hits the multiband compressor, everything's all leveled nicely. And what this is doing, it's mainly squishing the low band, actually. As you can see by this compression meter. And I don't really touch the attack from where it sits default, because it's like fine where it is, usually. And the mids come through natural because they're already compressed from beforehand, and I would compress the highs more, but like I didn't really have to that much for the sound I was looking for. Right, cool. And then we put it through an EQ. Again, bringing up that bass and then bringing up like a lot of the what I call the loud shit around here. Just this stuff, you know, leaving the 300 around there like kind of untouched to like keep it sounding subby. And then like we don't need that much more high end than it already has, so I don't really, if anything, I roll it off a little bit, you know, just because we don't need all that. Why does this seem complicated? Because it's built on a foundation of knowledge that I accumulate over years, like learning how to use a compressor, you know, and like what is a compressor doing. You know, why do you want to squish the high end, like, sort of deal? And I can't really explain that well, because it's just like, it becomes intuitive over time. But it's like, an OTT is doing that. It's squishing the lows and the mids and the highs, and then evening them up, and then like it would increase the high end and make it sound all crispy and stuff. And you know, also has some slight, I think, phase differences more than most multi-band compressors, but I could be tripping. But that doesn't really matter. And then I have this de-esser on, which isn't really doing anything except for taking the range from 2K to 10 and like compressing it, so it's a little less harsh sounding. Pardon. And then we make it louder with this little thing, which is different than all the other times I use this preset, because I do increase the pre-gain a little bit so that the curve looks more, you know, it's increasing the volume all throughout and then allowing it to get distorted earlier than it normally would be. But we do love Game & Sauce, a slightly altered version of Game & Sauce. And this is all like filter stuff for later and all that stupid shit. I will get into it when we cross that bridge. Persona something something lazy username. Hi, welcome to the stream. I love the vibes you're giving off. And then we have the part 2. Which was the first iteration of this pattern, but I had to make like a slightly simpler one. So this one, it's a different patch because I couldn't be fucked to like automate the detune bands, which is all I'm changing. It's just there's more detune on this one than the last one. Is how it sounds dry. And then I'm taking what was the bass and just moving it down an octave, and the pattern's a little more complex than over here. And instead of like being, it is now instead you know, just slight variation, just to be a little cooler, which you can barely hear in the final mix, but I felt that change was needed. And so now the processing is the exact same, it's just now that the notes have moved and the patch is slightly different, the emphasis on bass comes through more, and then it allows that bass to be further distorted by the distortion, you know? So it sounds way crunchier as a result, though the processing is the exact same as it was before. Awesome. And then I also have this thing playing, which is it going to play at all? There it is. which is just another one of those, like, I call it like a bullshit lead just because I've done this sort of thing a million times, like over and over again, where I'm just like taking a 3x oscillator and just... And that's what this is. It's just 3x with a slide, a little gallop. You know, simple stuff, really. Then it's in the processing where it comes alive, right? So we're panning left and right with an LFO tool. And because it's dariacore and not something reasonable, because we're getting all fucking wacky and goofy with it, I will pan hard left and right because I don't care. You know, that's the vibe we're going for. And then there's a little bit of EQ with the goal of mitigating the fundamental and a lot of the high end and just kind of leaving everything else as is, you know. Because you can already hear enough of the note information as is. You don't really need it to fucking, I don't know, add a dill propellant chops. What do you mean add? It's a breakdown. Song's done. And then I have two delays on. So the first one is what I could have done is like made another channel in parallel and been smarter about it, but I wanted to purposefully be stupid about it. So what this is doing is it's ping-ponging on dotted eighths, and that makes it kind of sound crazy. And I'm taking the delayed signal and like EQing that, mitigating the high end of that, high passing that, and making it quieter. And the cut knob stays the same. The feedback stays the same. And then we have this one, which is on quarter notes. It's on 4, and it just inverts the panning of whatever came before it. So it's even crazier. And the same EQ on the wet. And then a high pass, which is really meant to, what is this? The balance is fucking me over. I am just high passing it as it goes. Which you can barely hear until the very end. So it's done poorly, is what it is, but I did it anyway. A lot of this track is not really done well, but it's done well enough, you know? Which is the idea. And now it's vocal time. Real plug with connect. Okay, yeah. So the way that I did the stereo for this vocal, I wouldn't advise, because a lot of the stereo that's already in this vocal is just reverb. If I were to have this on and then just only turn on the side, it's just reverb, right? And the reason why that matters is if you fold this to mono, all that room gets lost. All that room is lost. So don't do that, but maybe try not to, unless like that's your intent. But I did do a mid-side compression sort of thing so that I could make it roomier, because a lot of dariacore is headphone music anyway, so fuck it. I just compressed basically the hell out of the side signal and then increased the gain so it would like vaguely meet the mid signal. Who's listening to it in mono? When you play music live, it's in mono. Fun fact. Which is why you would care about that. If you want it to be played live, you would have to kind of at least be a little mindful about the mono compatibility. No one really is who makes the music, because the whole idea is like bad mixing. You know, people fucking, the first dariacore album had like stereo bass, which is kind of a no-no. But you know, I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to mixing, and I can't help my nerdism. Even when I want to try less, I still try, and I'm at least vaguely cognizant of the idea that if I want this to be played live, I have to be aware of how that would sound, and it would be in mono. Sometimes I don't know if it's consistent, but in some cases it just takes the left signal and then makes that both channels, and in some cases it takes both and then folds them together. But I think it's different depending on like the venue and all that shit. I think, don't quote me on that. And then I have a parallel compression setup, which is some real nerd shits for no reason. And here's the idea. So yeah, a lot of Darius sucks really hard when played in a car, which is sad. Another one of my pet peeves is because everyone sucks at mixing, you know, and also it's not really because the car isn't mono, the car is stereo, but like that's why I'm kind of against like hard panning shit like that, and you know, mixing techniques that wouldn't translate well to other speakers, because I came into making this genre as somebody who cared about mixing, you know, which is kind of like those two things go against each other, but when you get them to cooperate, you get some cool results. And I've heard from one person that my shit bangs on the subwoofers, which is important, really important. I hold that, I hold that to a very high value. So the idea behind parallel compression is you would have a very, very hard compressed signal parallel with one that's like barely compressed.
Throw that ass back to see if he gon' catch it. I ain't never let it, but it's tennis for the necklace. Throw that ass back to see if he gon' catch it. I ain't never let it, but it's tennis for the necklace.
And it's very slight, but it makes it sound nice and loud and compressed without sounding that compressed. Kind of, you know. You can probably achieve it with just a single compressor, but like, you know, saying I did parallel compression just in and of itself is pretty funny, so like whatever. And then we clip it.
Throw that ass back to see if he gon' catch it.
So it's distorted now, and then we EQ that.
Throw that ass back to see if he gon' catch it. I ain't never let it, but it's tennis for the neck.
And we are mitigating the fundamental because we have enough of that. Mitigating what would generally be harsh, which is like around 1 to 2K, and increasing the high ends. And then for some reason, I thought it'd be a good idea to put that through a multi-band compressor. I don't know why, but I did.
Throw that ass back to see if he gon' catch it. I ain't never let it, but it's tennis for the necklace.
With the goal of compressing the high and the low ends, mainly. And then, is the cool stuff ever on? No, the cool stuff is only on like here, whatever. But that's how I mix the vocal. And then we have this fucking, which has a bunch of stuff going on.
Nobody likes you when you're.
So, the vocal. What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Give me a second. I gotta look at this. So the vocal is pretty mixed. Let me get rid of the that.
Nobody likes you when you.
Just for now. And let's go step by step, right? So first we process it normally, which is the first 5 effects, and then I'm doing to make it louder, and then I'm making it stereo, and then I'm mid-siding, and you know, all in the same patcher to save space, because otherwise I would not have any space here. Which makes you think, why don't I put everything else in a patcher? Fuck you, that's why. But no reason. It's just like a workflow thing, you know. But we start with a pretty hard single band compression, which then the gain of it gets decreased so that we can put it into the multi-band compressor,
Nobody likes you when you're.
which squashes the hell out of the high end. Well, you can't even hear it. It's like relatively flat, and the mid stays natural
Nobody likes you when you're.
because it's already compressed, and then the low end gets further flattened so that I can like EQ the low and the high and not have to worry about if it's like, you know, there's too much variation in volume. Those bands are compressed and the mid stays fine. And then we bit crush it because that's my sound. Wait, I have to do this and then this.
Nobody likes you when you're.
But yeah, I bit crush it because it sounds nice. I low-key just blasted in my headphones. I'm probably going to get tinnitus when I'm older. That's nice. If you want to produce music, maybe don't do that. And I'm dead serious. Because you will regret it. You will regret, you know, having bad ears later in life if you like music. Wear earplugs when you go to shows. Preferably get good earplugs, and if you don't, get any. Then we EQ it,
Nobody likes you when you
which puts an emphasis on the sibilants, all the crispier stuff, the high ends. You know, I don't really need to fuck with the fundamental too much because there's enough of that to go around. So we put it through a de-esser to make it a little bit less harsh.
Nobody likes you when you're
You know, and then we make it a little louder with Game & Sauce.
Nobody likes you when you're
What the hell? Okay, yeah, these two things. Right. And then I put it through my Serum Effects thing, which makes it stereo. It's a chorus with no rate, delays, some depth, no feed, and a high pass filter.
Nobody likes you when you're
You know. And then
Nobody likes you when you're
we mid-side compress it with a polarity flipper. So let me explain. The side signal, if you don't put a polarity flipper on it,
Nobody likes you when you're
I don't know, the stereo kind of hides.
Nobody likes you when you're
Now it doesn't hide. And let me explain why. So when you flip the polarity of a signal, or a sound, I should say, you're just inverting the waveform. Can I show an example? And like with like a shorter sound? Maybe like this one. Get the fuck out of my fucking face. So when you reverse polarity or flip polarity, you just flip the waveform around, which doesn't take that much, doesn't take latency at all, you know? And the reason behind that is because if you play two sounds that have inverse polarity from each other, you will get absolute silence. It just zeroes out, because that's how math works, right? So let's say this is a zero crossing, and then I have a sine wave. And if I play that same sine wave with the polarity flipped, you will get 0, you know? But if you play that same sine wave, and they're the same polarity, like this, you get a doubling in volume, right? And so the idea behind putting a polarity flipper on the side is, although the side doesn't really interact with the mid like that, it kind of does still anyway, and the way that this Serum Effects stereo thing works is like kind of weird, and the result is you don't hear the stereo that much, or sometimes it sounds like it's behind you if you don't flip the polarity. So if you do flip the polarity, then you get a more
Nobody likes you when you're
even stereo sound as opposed to like,
Nobody likes you when you're
which just kind of sounds a little odd. But I am just compressing that side signal
Nobody likes you when you're
a little bit and just increasing the gain to meet the mid. So it's about as wide as it is loud. And then for the intro specifically, and for like other like fill sections, I have this transgate here,
Nobody likes you when you're
like half mixed, just for a bit more groove. And then I have to make it louder when it has that transgate on,
Nobody likes you when you're
so that I can, you know, be more even. And I tend to turn this various volume thing down when the transgate is off, which would be over here. Unless I have the transgate playing for the drop mainly, but I turn it off if I want it to be heard, like for like filter sleeps and other fills and things like that, or whatever the case may be. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But it is something that comes in and out. For the intro though, it is loud. And then
Nobody likes you when you're
I have this, which shouldn't be on, but it is because I made a mistake. It should be off, but it's on. And the reason why it's on is for this. Just for some more delay there, but like that's for later. But I have it on anyway because I'm fucking stupid. And then the filter sweep. It's a free transition. I love these streams, by the way. Thank you. I'm a little self-conscious about doing breakdown streams because I'm just like, ain't nobody want to fucking watch this shit. But I know that producers do because I want to learn a thing or two. And that's the vocal. And then sound effects, it's pretty simple. Car crash. And then I low pass that car crash as an easy way to fade it out while maintaining the bass. It just disappears in a mix. And obviously I make it a little louder. This is better than a college education. Kind of. It's more targeted. You know, college is more general. College is more general, so it could be a lot of useless shit with a little bit of cool shit. But the idea behind a college education is the people that you meet along the way. You know, the friends you make, yada yada, the connections, you know, the skills. But whatever. I am a bit of a nerd when it comes to this car crash sound because the beginning doesn't have bass. It's just like a flam. But this part does. Shut up. Does have bass. So I started all where the bass starts, and I let the flam, you know, do the thing it needs to, whatever. So, because if it was like this, it would be like too late, you know, is my reasoning behind that. Back then, I've watched like a trillion dariacore tutorials, even the ones that were complete ass. I've only watched a couple of the Slime Cinema ones, and it taught me that you can just push the gain on the master. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. That's useful. And I started doing that, kind of. But then I didn't discover that you could just use a clipper and not a spectral fucking compressor, which I used to do. If you listen to 2000 late, I put that shit. I mastered it through a spectral compressor, and I have like 7 automation clips for like different mastering chains for different parts of the song, and it's so much nerd shit, which translates to a pretty poor mix because I'm doing a lot on the master to fix in the mix. But the Slime Cinema tutorials are okay. I think they're okay. If they help you early in your journey, that's good. I think you should learn how to make music before you learn how to make dariacore, personally. Hot take, but it helps to understand groove and basic theory and arrangements and mixing, you know, to be able to take all those things and then put it together. Because the only reason why I can make this at all is because I've made many genres before I started producing. Like, I'd make beats, I'd make color bass, I'd make future bass, I'd try some house out, you know, some guitar stuff, you know, all this different stuff. I had a hyperpop phase of when that was popping in like 2020 and shit like that, you know. So all those skills come together to, you know, help the song out. And then for this, it's the simplest shit in the world. It's a reverse kick before this impact thing that I have from a hardstyle pack and a very basic trap clap build-up. You know, nothing fucking revolutionary. And it leads to one of my snares, which I made for a project and never rendered until somebody asked me for it. And then I'm like, wait, that's actually a good snare. And I just use it now sometimes. I didn't synthesize it from scratch. It was like a combination of snares that already exist and some like perk sounds. But yeah, I also have this shit, which if you've been frequenting my breakdowns, you have heard that a million times by now. Because this is one of those songs where I'm not trying, right? I'm just kind of doing what I know and putting in all my tropes into one song. So I get a very me sound. And the me sound is this glass break, which has a shit ton of high end on it. Because otherwise it just kind of sounds like, which doesn't have the same like impact over the stomp. And then I have this, you know, which is the bubble up sound effect, but reversed and vocoded. And then I have a reverb, which is just delay with max diffusion, automating in, as well as a mid-side compressor for some reason. The mid-side compressor is doing nothing, to my knowledge. Okay, no, it's compressing the mid without compressing the side, so the mid and the side are even. And then I compress those two together. Well, clip those two together, more accurately. And yeah, the reverb is nice and lush and washes over your ears, you know. And then I have a snare, and then this is some melee sound. I forget which one it is specifically, which is a cardinal sin. I shouldn't forget. I should know exactly what it is, but I don't know exactly what it is. It's not the pause sound. Or maybe it is the pause sounds. I don't know. But it's drop one time nonetheless. Wait, hold on. Is this the same exact drum groove as fucking... Media player sucks. No, not quite. Okay. So the drum groove is pretty simple. It's just da ka da 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 ka da 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 ka da 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 ka. That's it. You can see that I did try to do some other shit in here that I wasn't really a huge fan of. And I just muted it anyway because there's enough going on outside of the drums that the drums don't need to be as crazy. And then I have these like you know, pretty, I think they're simple fills, but like, you know, they work nicely. Little blips and bops here and there, you know, which combines with some shit that I have going on here. You know, there's some shit going on. I was gonna have the lasers be like, or not the lasers, the hit markers be like 16th, but I saved that for later because I felt like it was a little bit too much for this section, and I wanted to give it some variety from half 1 to half 2. But let's get into sound effects later. Yeah, there's an exhaust there, you know, nothing revolutionary, and some hit markers. But that's it. Nothing crazy. So this beat, again, it's just the shit that I be doing, like all the time. So it's pretty simple. It's intuitive to me. It's just, you know. And then I have a low octave hat on 4 on the floor, and just like hold on, let me just which, you know, this thing is it's, you would go on to 1/2 no, what is it? It's 1/3 step. Wow, that's crazy. You know, you put all the notes down. You could do this, and then you would right click and then drag, and then that's how you create that fade out in an easy way. There you go. How do you feel about adding estrogen to whole wheat? I feel like it wouldn't taste that good. You know. And then what I call the yeet hi-hats, the gallop. You know, very simple stuff. I think the hi-hats are also being bit crushed slightly. Yeah. Yeah. And 1/3 step is a little fast for hi-hats, but whatever. And then I also have this other... You can't even hear it. Yeah, there it is. Just some other hats for a bit more of a dynamic, like hi-hat pattern sounds. And a snare. Simple stuff. As the trap fill. And then back to regularly scheduled programming. Just looping at this point. And then I change the snare. And this little fucking tom that is a default FL tom that just happens to be in tune that I just put through something called a bass clipper, which takes an input EQ, puts it through a clipper, and then does the exact opposite output EQ. That's all it's doing. I mean, I have some knobs to help control the things, but that's that sound. Then I clip the hell out of it after. I do agree. More people do need to be watching this stream, but you know, what can you do? It's not like this is good marketing, but I don't care. People will watch the VOD and be like, oh, this is useful stuff. Hopefully, at least. You're wrong, because if you add estrogens, hopefully you get fembread. That doesn't mean I taste good. So, unless that's what you're implying, in which case, how do you know that? And then I have some other default FL tom going through the same patch as like a little distorted fill. You know. And for this part, I have this mid snare normally panned as opposed to hard pan right. I mean, I would eat it. Okay, all right. It's because you make delicious beats. I guess I give you diabetes with this shit, but you know, whatever. So, bass patch. Which is 2 layers. It's not just one, it's 2. So, layer 1, let's go. And let's make them both dry real quick. Sounds nice, sounds cool. So, recently I came across a dariacore serum preset pack, and it pissed me off really hard because anytime there was an oscillator that only had one voice, they would have the random up. Don't do that. Don't do that, because the random, it's randomly deciding where on the waveform to start. Which if you have 2 oscillators, even if you have just 1 oscillator, but if you have 2 oscillators, they will sound different every single time you hit the key, you know? And it'll sound different mixed in with all your other synths every time the key is hit. Why? If you have more than one voice and your intent is to make it sound detuned, then yeah, you keep that random up. But if it's a single oscillator with a single voice, or 2 oscillators with a single voice, or whatever, just one voice oscillators, why is the random up? Turn that shit down. Because then you can adjust the phase for a different sound. Sometimes. And sometimes it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this bass is pretty cool. It's just 2 basic shapes, a sawtooth and a sine wave. With some bright white. It sounds good though, IMO. I never said this sounds bad. What do you mean? What's it called? With the LFO and the coarse pitch. That gives it the whole, you know, the bubble fucking. Yeah, whatever. Dude, IDK, I like weird shit. Are you talking about turning the random up or down? By the way? Because if you think it sounds good up or down, the answer, first of all, is no, it doesn't. And second of all, I don't think you can hear the difference if you think it sounds good. I like the low part, you know. Yeah, it's a classic. It's definitely a classic. I would be a nerd and then move the pattern like slightly back so the actual bass part, you know, hits on the downbeat, but I didn't really feel like it this time around. But yeah, put that shit on an envelope and then you distort it. Simple. Tell me why I hit that fucking. Oops. Accidental meme, but whatever. Just be glad it wasn't fucking Megalovania. Okay, but yeah, simple. Very easy to make, not complicated. So, the way I process it is step one, I take a Maximus and just flatten the low frequencies, which is kind of crude, but that's the way I do it, just to, you know, be a bit of a nerd and try to keep the bass as even as possible. And I don't do anything to other bands. I don't have it in a linear phase, but, you know, just to do that. And that's the filthy part, where I decreased the 300 by a lot, just a chasm at 300 hertz to give it that subby feeling, and then I mitigate some of the high end because it's on fucking bright white. You don't need more high ends. You're good, you know. And that's for later. And then I have a stereo thing on because I'm like, whatever. We're gonna do some. It's not stereo bass because I did put a high pass on this at like 200 something hertz, so the low end is still relatively in the middle, but it gives everything else a nice stereo quality. You know, that sounds nice in mono. And then I was gonna polarity flip it, and then I decided not to because it didn't work for the sound. Because, you know, bass frequencies are longer than other ones, and so there's more of an effect when you flip the polarity. But we compress the shit out of the side, and then bring it up. Not the shit out of it. It looks like I'm compressing the shit out of it, but I'm not. Just a little bit, and then I bring it up so that, you know, it's as wide as it is loud. And then we decrease the 300 again, and then we increase the gain again, so that it clips into the master nicely. And then the second layer. I, for some reason, have it on the same... Like this, if you play this note, that's not what F sharp sounds like. That's a fifth up from F sharp, with another fifth on top of that. Very crude. But I just copied the pattern over. Can't wait to share the music video with my friends. The music video. I should probably make a Club Penguin themed music video out of it. But this one is just two sawtooths and a bright white and distortion. It's the same patch as before. I cloned it, but I just changed where the pitch was of the oscillators themselves. Which, honestly, I could have just done this, left this on 0, leave this on 1, leave this on +7, and then move it a fifth up, which would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's more accurate, as in like where it is in a keyboard, but I didn't do that, and it doesn't really matter because it sounds exactly the same. And I know what I'm doing in my head, so, you know, it's whatever. So that's how it sounds normally. And then we do some processing to get it up to volume and, you know, whatever. So first, high end. Because the other patch has crispy high end, but this one more high end, nicer, so that like when the sub clips, it creates more grit. It's clipping into the high end and making it nice and crunchy and crispy. You know, it's cool. And then we bit crush it, which just adds some grit to the high end again. Stereo. And then we mid-side compress it. A bit more side compression to keep things even. Then we increase the gain so that the mid and the side match. And then we compress, not compress, we clip it. So it's more distorted, and then we EQ the results. Just a tiny bump in high ends, and a gaping chasm in 300 yet again. And then we combine the two. Super nice. And it allows it to take up most of the space of the first drop. Wait. I like that drop. Thank you. It's pretty good. It's pretty simple in concept, and it's pretty good. And the thing that makes it work really well is the very aggressive sidechain. It's so aggressive that I didn't like make the curve as steep as possible. I just added a point. It's an L. You cannot get this sound with an automation clip. You cannot, because automation clips have too much smoothing for you to get this sound. This is about exactly a 16th note long, and as a result, it like creates more chops in the pattern. And that's why I kept the drums kind of simple, because the drums and the bass are kind of like syncopated, like apart from each other. And, you know, you combine that sidechain and it creates like a pretty nice groove, both of them together. Like the pattern for the bass alone is kind of boring and the drums alone are kind of boring, but combine like that regular show pilot, you know, it's perfect. It's perfect. The way I do sidechain is that's like when it switches to the more trapper style drums. So like it's a very clean transition, you know, not my idea because it's a flip of a song that already exists. You know, oh wait, it's like mad distorted. It shouldn't be. You know, it's not my idea. I just did it my way. I was gonna sing the song, but I just decided against it. Whatever. Anyway, that's that. The way I sidechain, I guess I'll just go over it for those who might not know, is I'm sending a MIDI trigger with a MIDI out on port 2 to an LFO tool on a sidechain track, which has an input port of port 2. I set it to envelope on note retrig, and then set the thing to 1/4 and, you know, change the volume and make sure the split is turned off. Otherwise, it makes your low end sound weird. And there is a bit of latency coming into the track, about 7 milliseconds, and that allows the sidechain to start a little bit before the actual drums start, which cleans things up, you know, makes some room for the drums to do their thing. That's kind of the problem with an automation clip sidechain. If it starts right when your drums start, the sound that came before it will bleed into the kick, and then it'll fuck up the transients. For some reason, so many people who make hyperflip do that and don't care. Or they just take the automation clip, let's say this automation clip, they just move it back, which you can do, but it's going to sound different, you know. Half your album is done, as in fully mixed and mastered and all that. Hell yeah, can't wait. But yeah, I have a sidechain track, which everything is going to, and by default already is routed to. Like when I open the project, everything apart from the drums by default are routed to sidechain. Otherwise, they go through no chain. Just to make sure I can manage the latency compensation. And then I can see here the largest latency that my project has. You know, because if something with a lot of latency goes into the sidechain track, the no chain track accommodates for that and adds latency. And then I can see here, oh, it's 7 milliseconds. Okay. The drums are stuck in my brain. Play that drop again. I'm in a breakdown, man. All right, now super cool. But just know the drums are cool, but they're only as cool as what's around it, which is the bass and the other things. But there's not that much going on in the first half of this drop, really. Besides the exhaust and like these little fills. That's a mistake. I have some lasers playing. Bass and the drums and the fills and the effects. Yeah, it's all that. It's all that, the whole 9. Oops. And then I have the XGen Studios opening from Stick RPG to Just give it a second. It's that with a bit of processing. So what I'm doing, obviously it's okay, hold on, it's clipping really hard. It shouldn't be because this thing is turned off. I'll get into that later. But what I'm doing is we're EQing it. Okay. We're EQing it. A lot of high ends, less of the shit that's kind of really annoying. Bit crushing it. Compressing the fuck out of it. So the levels stay the same. Making it stereo. And instead of doing a mid-side compression, I just increased this knob, which is why it looks like a neat little circle. Increased the fundamental, and then I was going to add reverb, but I decided against it. You probably don't remember, but a couple of months ago I had said that one day I'd really like to make a rock album, but with like jazz or something mixed in. I hope that goes well. But it's a nice little fill. You know, it's a sound I use all the time, and it fits. Right? You know, and I have the I forget what that's from. Like I know it's from Melee, but like I don't know where in Melee it's used. But it's a nice sound anyway. It's a really good fill. It's pretty good. And I put it through this channel, which is unmixed with some high ends, because I didn't want to add like an unnecessary fucking whole channel for a sound I wasn't going to process. So like whatever. And then I'm doing this shit again. So for this, I got rid of the mid-side compressor that was in the intro and replaced it with Stereo 2, which is the Serum Effects stereo, as well as a mid-side compressor after that, an EQ, clipper, and sound goodizer. Kind of sounds like the Yoshi sound effects when he shoots the egg out his ass. It's not. I'm pretty sure it's not. But the idea behind this is more mono compatibility. Like the room, the reverb, kind of, is heard now in mono and actually matches. So without it, it's like and then with it, just slight stereo increase, and then the mid side, you know, just makes it louder, and then I have to turn this shit on again because it's clipping unnecessarily. It shouldn't be clipping this hard. You know, just increases the fundamental and the high end as well. And then we clip it so it's nice and distorted, and then we put a sound goodizer on it to make it sound kind of like bassier, and I don't know, like a more it adds tone to the distortion, so it's not just straight up clipping. It sounds kind of cool. And then the second half. What we're doing here, I already explained it earlier, I changed the snare, but nothing else. The drum pattern is the exact same as it was before. Oh yeah, I also think it's important to note that the bass has a balance on it, making it tighter. You know, this is for a fill. That's why it's like that. But it has a balance on it, so the release doesn't ring out when I don't want it to. So it's more controlled sounding. This I'm pretty sure I just took this patch and increased it by an octave. Yeah. I just increased each oscillator by an octave. I didn't change anything. So it just sounds kind of crazier. And then we start adding in this thing. And I forgot to bring it back for this part. I literally, I fucked up. I'm supposed to do something like that. But that just proves how little you can actually hear it in the mix. Like, you can barely make out that there's some more noise there, but like other than that, like, it's whatever. But it's the same thing as before, but I add drop one thing, which is a patcher preset. Which has let me just, it has a transgate on it for some reason. Like half mixed, and then I have an LFO tool, which is panning it harder. And then I have a bit crusher, which is bit crushing it kind of heavily, which takes away a lot of the fidelity in the notes. And then I'm EQing it. You can barely tell what the fuck is even happening anymore. And then I have some delay on it, which is on 3 and on ping pong. So it just ping pongs whatever was coming in. Like that. And I'm copying the EQ from the other delay patch that I had, like, for this, the lead. And then it goes into another one. I'm doing the same delay thing that I did earlier. You know, and then I have an LFO tool on 16th notes. Which tightens it up, but also makes it so you definitely can't hear it in the final mix. It's really funny. But it's there. And then I'm adding this thing in again. But as opposed to how it was in the intro, like, I'm instead adding an LFO tool that's on 16th notes again. To make it tighter. You can barely tell. And then the fembread, which is what I call this fucking fill. Because I've done this, I literally, if you listen to Breadcore 2, you already know what song it's in. High bash EQ'd. No, it's not high bash, it's Angel. I'm so fucking stupid! Breadcore 2. What did I call it? It's not called Angel, it's called Crazy Speed House. That fucking thing. There it is. Very cute. So it's 3x oscillator with the pitch LFO turned on. So this is how you get the vibrato sound. You can just turn the amount up slightly. This knob is very sensitive. It very quickly becomes unruly if you let it. But, you know, dial the speed in, have the delay turned up so it doesn't instantly activate, and then, you know, when you, as you hold the note out more, it vibratos more, you know, and the attack so that it doesn't go from nothing to full vibrato. It like kind of fades with how much vibrato there is before max vibrato, right? And then it's just like a, you know, very simple. Da, 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 da. And then I have a reverb with a compressor on it, which makes it so that the reverb tail is basically the same volume as the lead, which is nice. In a mix like this, where you want everything to be at volume, that helps. I'm just cutting it at the end. Sick. Vocal time. Where is the fucking...
Nobody likes you.
Yeah. So this is when the trance gate from earlier actually comes into play. It's creating that groove. And then I'm adding like a little like delay impulse here with a focus on like the higher sort of walkie-talkie frequencies and less of the fundamental. Which doesn't add too much, but adds something. Just a bit more room is what it adds. Just a little more room. You know, it helps. You know, and a nice little... This is, specifically from Melee, somewhere. And the shine sound for Melee, hard panned left. And then that snare thing again. With a reverse kick. And then we're at the Jersey part. What the hell happened? What? Something's off. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that fucking thing. So... This is from... I forget the original song. I'm pretty sure it's... Actually, I don't even know. But it's a Missy Elliott song. But either way, who was the DJ that made Boy Oh Boy? Why am I forgetting? Whatever, I'll look it up real quick. This song was like triple, quadruple platinum, GTA and Diplo. That's what it was. There you go. Oh yeah, it was Work It. Let me tell you, I was scared of being wrong, so I didn't want to guess at all. Don't be me. Shoot your shot. You miss 100% that you don't take. But it was worth, you know, is it worth it? Let me work it, but I'm gonna flip it and reverse it, you know, yada yada. It's worth it. But people mainly recognize that pre-drop vocal. This is kind of beat the go from the GTA and Diplo remix of this fucking song, or just the GTA and Diplo song itself. You know, that shit was everywhere in the 2010s. Everywhere, absolutely everywhere. And instead of doing what the original song that I'm flipping did, I just kind of... This is the kinda... You know, just to be a contrarian. And I wanted to do the Jersey in a way that was a bit more Jersey. You know. So let me explain. It's just an 808, a bit crushed 808, because I'm a nerd. Where is it? Dickhead, where the fuck are you? There it is. It's not even an 808. It's just a sample from a Jersey club pack, actually. With an envelope on it. So if I have no envelope on it, it's like it's just bass. You know. But I decided to... Did I not put cut self on this? I guess I didn't. I'm a genius. Fucking Christ. But it is just from Navo, New Jersey. There you go. And I put like a crazy envelope on it so it would have a crazy attack when I eventually distorted it. And if I turn off all the effects, it sounds like nothing. Just like a very low kick thud. And so first I did Nani, which was what I used to do to distort all my 808s when I made beats very often. Because it's a good distortion plugin. Fucking kill me. You know, if you turn it way up after the fact. You know, neuter the 300, crank that gain, and then crank the high end up for the bit crusher. Simple, dimple, pop and squish. Yeah, that's the reverse kick. So the plugin, what the fuck? Don't switch off the banana. And if anything, don't even get that plugin. Just don't get it. I bought it because I couldn't be fucked with like fixing the crack that I got. So I just paid money for it instead. But alright, so the vocal, I'm doing some more nerd shit that's very like subtle. You know, it's just beats, kind of beats, and then with a delay on it. So, you know, simple, right? High pass, and then the actual delay that's doing the work. I'm automating the input, obviously, feedback all the way down, obviously it's on 4, and I'm like mitigating the high end of the delay signal so it sounds different and gives it more of a 1-2. I should have high passed that more, but I didn't, so we're here now. Anyway, and then we're compressing this. You know, just to be more compressed, and then for some reason I'm adding a mid-side. Although there's not that much information in the side signal. It's nothing but noise, so I don't know why I did that, but whatever. And then I have the Jersey, which is basically a delay that's on like, you know, almost no time, and a bit of cuts, kind of tune the frequency a little bit. The feedback. They both start with letter F, sorry. And the input a little bit. For that like robotic sort of... For that. I wish I made it less subtle, because when it's played with the bass, you can barely hear it. You know, not too much. But, you know, it's there. And then I'm fading in this fucking thing. Why didn't I high pass it? I'm actually dumb as rocks. Just done that. I might replace the audio file on SoundCloud just with this thing high passed, because that does add some bass in areas I don't want it to, but whatever. And it's just a frequency shifter and a filter sweep. That's it for the transition. You know, And yeah, I did add a little fucking just 3x oscillator square, because you know I will always be virtual riot pilled even if I'm making Jersey Club. Wait, no, dickhead. Awesome. And then I have this gun cock thing, which is just gun cock with the fucking. There's a bit of a pop at the end. Ideally I'd get rid of that, but I wasn't trying, so whatever. I think it's kind of, no, it's not the exact same as before. I'm EQing the wet slightly differently than I would for the Missy Elliott vocal, but the principle is the same. More of a 1-2, you know, more of a tune sort of delay, and then the Jersey, but mixed slightly. Which you can barely hear in the final mix, but, you know, whatever. Just gives it a bit more of a tail, I guess, which is nice. Especially when it's just straight bass clipping into everything. And then second half. So for this vocal, when it comes in here, I'm turning off the transgate and the various volume, because with the transgate, it's quieter. As with the transgate, it's quieter, and I have to turn it up to compensate. But if I don't have the transgate on, I can just leave it. Nobody likes you when you're 23. Nobody likes you when you're 20. You know. I'm still doing that delay thing. As you can hear, I fuck it up here and do it wrong. It's supposed to sound like this. But it instead sounds like this. Fucking dumbass, but whatever. It still sounds kind of cool, I guess. Otherwise, it's the same as before. I'm just changing the pattern. Not that hard. Come on. And then I'm introducing that vocal again, but I'm only transitioning the frequency shifter and not the filter again. And here you can hear that like low end coming in, which is kind of annoying. But the important part is this fucking shit. And I say it's important because it's a lot more important than this thing. Because they have to work together to even sound the way they do, right? But this is just some 808 that I have from, I think it's from my friend Quincy. I'm pretty sure it is. It is. It's not a kit that's released, but it sounds crazy. So I used it because of course I did. And I had to mitigate the gain so that it would be even with the other thing. Because, you know, the other thing has that crazy envelope on it, and then all this gains to compensate. So like I have to be mindful of that. But it's a nice, you know, kind of stereo bass, I guess, with good mono compatibility. I don't really have to worry about that. And then, you know, all reliable. Wait. I did have to process this differently from the other saws, but it's not that complicated. What did I even do? Whatever. So what this is just two oscillators, 2 octaves apart, both with detune. You know, simple. I think they're both on super, so it sounds more like you hear a bit more detuned voices. Like the detune voices are more spread apart the farther detuned they are, but there's also more center stuff, so it still maintains fidelity while also being kind of wide sounding and, you know. Distortion. And I think I had the sub frequency on too, to like help things clip. And then French low pass, which has a bit cooler of a character than like what's it called? Like a normal low pass would. I gotta check something. Has a cooler character than like a normal low pass would, which is why I use it. Because before it hits the distortion is really like where that character is heard. I just think it sounds better for certain applications, specifically like Reese sort of stuff, right? Then I completely neuter the 400 instead of the 300 and increase like the low mid bass, because that's really where the fundamental lies, just right around here. Slight bump in the high end, just a little bit. Sound good, Iser, to make it sound good, Iser. Ow, it's pretty harsh. So I have to mitigate that, right? With a decrease in 3K and some of the mids, but I leave the bass as is. I roll off the super low frequencies. I don't hard cut them. And then I'm kind of rolling off the high end as well, and then we make it louder. And that's that sound. And then combined with the bass, it sounds pretty sick. You know.
Nobody likes you when you're
And now it's the footwork section time. My god. I am not speeding through this as fast as I thought I would. Ugh, shit. But whatever. Just gonna sip some water here. Because speaking for this long, all in one go, turns out is not that good for your throat. It's even worse if you're trying to voice train and not sound totally like a guy, but I still fail. I'm still not good at that. But you know what? We try nonetheless, because otherwise I would sound like raccoon eggs, and trust me, you don't want that. It would be a funny juxtaposition, but that's not the character I want to portray. This is like barely, if you listen to any footwork, it barely even sounds like this. But I just did it to copy the original song. However, compared to the original, the Jersey Club section, and I think even the footwork section, are twice as long than normal. Just because I thought it would sound better like that for the sake of arrangement. Hold on. What if I... There's not that much of a difference. Never mind. Okay, whatever. So, it's this kick from Navo, New Jersey, which I do spam, and then I put it through this fucking Twerkination hard act kick. Hard act kick. That's how you pronounce it. It's a hard act kick. No fancy transient shaper nonsense needed. I would, but I don't care that much. And just some fucking perk from some fucking pack. Nothing out of the ordinary. A little bit crusher, so that, you know, it sounds nice and crispy. Little increase in the high end there. And the reason why this is called rail clap is because I guess, because I'm using that same clap in the beginning as like a build up clap right here. But for this section, I needed to, you know, process that clap differently so that it actually like fits in the mix. Because you can just leave it like that and make it loud, but I wanted to make it crispy. So first I make it louder, so you can actually fucking hear the damn thing. Then I make it even louder. so you can hear the damn thing, but you still can't hear the damn thing. So we need to make it really increase the high end, like a reverse Black Summer, a White Summer, if you will. And then roll off that unnecessary low end. And to make it more footworky for the second half of this, I'm introducing some perks. If I was really a nerd, I wouldn't have this play while a kick plays, but I wasn't trying that hard. It's just some, I think this is just some random default, yeah. That, where is it? I just put it in the same patch as the fucking... as the perks, because, you know, I couldn't be fucked to move it and, you know, give it its own, like, chain or anything. So they're bit crushed a little bit and sound kind of cool. Right. Awesome. So... Porter chops again. So the way this is working is like... I'm taking the ending of this chop that already has the note as opposed to like the beginning. I guess I could have done that, huh? Wait a minute. Oh, fuck! I should have done that! Whatever. And then I take chop 9. These are all tuned down the same, except for chop 6, which would be, here, I have them all here. You know, which is a nice, like, add 9 sort of chord. But it's not in the same progression, like in this, like, it's not the same root. If it was tuned the way it's supposed to be, it would be more like, you know? But I tuned it to fit, so that, just because the leading voice needs to go, da da da, da 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 da, you know? So it makes the chord progression sound cooler. Basically, and I'm just spamming that throughout this shit-ass footwork section. And then processing, right? So single band compression, pretty hard compression, just to like even things up. But like a lot of release too, you know. And we turned the gain way down so that it meets this multi-band compressor nicer. In which I'm basically flattening the high end further, despite the whole thing being kind of compressed. It's a little redundant to be compressing it the way that I am, but like, whatever. Bit to crush. Just enough to add a bit more interesting high ends. And then we put it through an EQ and a de-esser. The de-esser isn't really doing shit, so it's kind of unnecessary. But I'm putting a focus on like all the airiness and the crispiness and the fundamental. Wait, as opposed to, you know. There you go. Let me make it louder. And I guess I decided this wasn't stereo enough. So I put a mid-side compressor on it. Which is doing basically nothing except for slightly increasing the side gain, which I could have just done with this. But I guess doing it in the mixer before I apply some more processing on top of it is, I don't know, sometimes more beneficial. In this case, it's the way that I wanted to do it. It's the order I picked. Then we make it sound good, Iser, and then decrease some of the stuff that it introduces, which is like all the harshness, this 3K, this like mid stuff, and a lot of that high end. cool. And then the vocal.
He likes you when you she walked away.
Yeah. So what's really happening here is just
That's about the time she walked away.
I think this is from 23, not Away From Me. Let me
23.
yeah, that's from 23, but either way the "weh" still fits after Walked Away.
Time she walked away.
It's perfect. Linguistics are fun sometimes. Phonics. I'm trying to sound smart and I'm stupid as shit. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I just added mad reverb. They say retouch verb, that's why she quiet. I just added mad reverb. So I had to do a wet dry split for this reverb because Delay likes to take the dry signal and clip it, which is sometimes unnecessary. And in this case, I felt it was unnecessary. So I decided to control the dry with this balance, and then control the wet with this. You know, and you can barely hear the vocal like restarting. You know, it just kind of sounds like a long note when the drums and shit are playing as well, which is pretty cool. And then of course I have to add the glass break plus the bubble up reversed and vocoded thing. You know, this fucking all majestic sounding and shit. And then for the second half, we are doing this. Sort of synth-based thing, which is, from what I recall, a pretty basic serum patch. It's just, yeah, okay, so it's 2 saws and a sub-oscillator with a French low pass and a distortion. Simple. Some detune, a lot of release. I didn't put it on mono for some reason. I should have, but whatever. That French low pass makes it sound all cool, and then I guess I didn't really need to put it on mono because the distortion prioritizes what is already loudest and then fucks everything else off by the wayside. So it works. So we make it a little bit louder before putting it in our saw bass fix, which takes the low end and squashes it. And then we make it sound good, Iser. And we are increasing a lot of like, not really low mid, but you know, the low kind of sub, but not really sub. And leaving the actual sub alone, decreasing this like mid stuff that the French low pass added, and then increasing the high ends. And then I could put a balance on it at the end to shut it the fuck up when I need it to. Like there. You know, I'm not doing anything different to the vocal here when it plays as opposed to when it was playing here. It's mixed the same, it's mixed the exact same way. And that's the best part of the entire song. It's the greatest part in the entire song, arguably in any dariacore song ever. I'm gonna say it. Because who thinks of that shit besides young fembread in the cut? No kizzy. So, real quick, I gotta use the bathroom, like, really bad. So we'll continue when I come back. Have this fucking dog shit screen as a consolation. And I guess keep each other entertained. Because I'll be gone for like 30 seconds, which is a long time. Dog shit screen, no. Fucking Tifu's in here. God. The hell. I know you were enthralled because the chat was frozen for like 30 minutes, which is fine, you know, because I know that doesn't mean 0 people are watching. But like, you know, that's how captive. I gotta pee so bad. I'm so sorry. I'll be right back. Don't fight. Okay. Kind of selfish to go pee and leave us here. Die. Tifu. That's TMI. The people don't need to know what's happening. The people don't need to know any of that, really. But, whatever. Of course you have to be the leaker. And I mean that in 2 ways. And you can guess which 2 ways. I heard your footsteps on the way. Is my mic buzzing? It is. Fuck, that's why. You can hear fucking everything. That's not good. Jesus Christ. Okay, well. Awesome. We're back. And now it's the best song. The best part. Did my previous message send or get automated? Was it the one about long ass pee, or did you send something after that? Before that, I guess it got automated. If you don't see it, then it didn't happen. Okay. All right. So for this section, it's like, you know, fuck ass instrumental with your face is a blur now, yada yada yada, this, that, the third. So it started with the same as the intro, but dreamier in some way, I think, was the goal with this. Breaking it down sexual style. Are they good with the sauce? Lol. I see it was related to the dog shit screen and a suggestion to keys. I see. Anyway. It's the same pattern as before. The exact same pattern as before. Put through some random patch in this synth that I have here that I use sometimes. I still haven't figured out how to actually make anything with this. Because it's really old head pilled. But like, whatever. Why do you sometimes laugh like you just, I don't know. Synth of death. Yeah. You have to have a mullet and like half cut jeans to operate this synth. So slight compression, nothing crazy. We make it sound good, Iser. And then put 2 delays on it, this time properly, just in parallel. So what's happening here is we have this first one, which is on 3 and on ping pong with a slight pan. With a decrease in the high end for the wet signal and like the fundamental as well. And then this one is on half the time with ping pong the other way, and it's even quieter than the other one. For like a lot of room. And I could have just increased the panning of the ping pong as opposed to doing it later with a mid-side compressor, but I'm fucking stupid, so like I did it like this anyway. Where I just increased the gain of the side, and yeah, that's it. That's the same thing as increasing the panning knobs for these, and like increasing the gain, but I guess kind of different. I don't know. Whatever. And then we EQ it to get rid of all the mids, increase the highs, leave that like low mid sort of bass kind of. An entire song in Patcher? You probably could with all like this, like with like a bunch of samplers and stuff, and like sending stuff through MIDI. We make it louder. And a balance at the end to shut it up when I need it to shut up. And then that's that. I'll get into the vocal last. That's what I'll do. Andre, I wonder if you can make a song. I also wonder. So I have this fucking DL breaker shit happening. Because, I don't know. I feel like this break's kind of a meme, but apparently people don't know it at all anymore, which sucks, so it's less of a meme. But it's DL fucking breaker. It's like the first default break in the loops for... You know, it's the first fucking one, and so it's like it's just a meme, whatever. And then we compress it like crazy to give it more room, and then clip it. And I have to mitigate that like bass that it adds. And I didn't do it before the clipper because I liked how stupid and dumb and filthy it sounded. I just did it after the fact, so it didn't like interfere too hard with the master. You know. And then I have a pretty basic like I'm just using the snare of this. I'm not even doing anything like fancy. Except for that like little bit crush fade in. So I mid-side it first, which makes it sound like left ear dominant for some reason. Because sometimes that happens when you increase the side gain. And so I have to take a balance and then pan it slightly right to mitigate it in the mixer itself before I start applying effects. You know, as a little fade in. We are hot pants is a mix of 2 breaks mainly with compression. Heard. I figured it was multiple breaks on top of each other. But yeah, sometimes when you increase the side gain, it'll just like expose like a slight panning difference, which is nice because you could just either work with it or not work with it. Sometimes I do work with it and just it adds a nice like room if I'm layering that break with another one. But in this case, I wanted it to be down the middle, but also still wide. So we decrease the fundamental of the snare because we don't need all that. I'm clipping it and then I'm bringing the fundamental back, I guess. I think the thought process was I didn't want the fundamental to clip too hard into the clipper before I brought it back in and let it clip into the master naturally, and then increase some of the high end as well, roll off the low ends. Your face is a break fact. I could chop a break, but I know I'd hate the way that it would break out. Ha 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 ha. Do I have this? No, I don't. I have to fucking go here. Okay. Well, and then I have this, which was a Tfue suggestion. Which if I let the thing ring out, it's just one of those things, you know, classic. And I also have like another layer of the reverb like going into itself. Sounds nice. It's just key zone with mad EQ. Usually found that it's interpolation from a Midwest song. Is it? Oh yeah. Well, so I just add a shit ton of high end to this. And probably Jane though. Yeah. You mean this piano thing, or you mean like the section that it's based off of? Like this section in the song, in the original song, like what it's based off of? Because if you mean this piano thing, then I'm sure it precedes Midwest like by age. The piano melody? Okay. I'm pretty sure it's the most classic like 2000s thing in the world, but sure. The few notes you'd hear before someone get called to aisle 3 in the supermarket. No. This is too beautiful for that. And then we add reverb on top of the sound geyser, and it's all pretty now. It's all pretty and done up. Awesome. Cool. And that's that. And now it's time for the greatest part. The fucking vocals.
Is a dick.
I was just kidding.
Really funny. It's exactly as it sounds. Fucking. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I mean the vocal chop. What actually means the vocal chop melody. Yeah. I see. Don't ever do that laugh ever again. There you go. Dickhead. Fuck you. So this thing is, it's clipped and then sound geysered. You can, there we go. Yeah. So it's all beefy. And then that's put to the same channel because I didn't really care. Awesome. And I took this and like rendered it out so that I could then put it into a sampler. Did you grab that from an SFX or a YTP? The pussy was on my computer, and then the dick I got from the original Tenacious D song. So there you go. The original thing was supposed to be some crazy ass like. I was like, there's a little too fucking much. But I put it in a sampler and then, you know, did my thing. Just loop that. You know, whatever. And the processing is kind of stupid. High pass, I put stereo on this shit, and then I mid-side compress that. Which I'm just increasing the gain of the side. So it's like as wide as it is loud. I'm clipping the shit out of it. Ow. and then I soundgardizer that. Ow. And then, why did you say it pussy and dick in the most serious voice that ever I would have been cackling? Because I do this shit. You're giving me a migraine. I take it away. I don't know. And then I fucking put it through a de-esser and like a slight low pass. High pass. A slight high pass. My fucking stupid ass. And then I have... I did process this. It's not just dry. I needed to decrease the mids, increase like this low end and all the high end. And then...
I was just kidding.
This is also fucking processed to hell. I laughed a lot of this part when I first heard the song. Good. That was the point. It's like you're just vibing it out of nowhere. It's just like... You know what I mean? Leave a like if your pussy's a dick now. So... Squidward, I put through a soundgardizer.
I was just kidding.
And then I fucking... No, wait. I didn't... There we go.
I was just kidding.
There you go. And then I put it through the stereo thing with the serum effects and then the mid side.
I was just kidding.
So it's fucking... You know. Mine's the opposite. So is mine. We're twins.
I was just kidding.
Well, not yet. I mean, I don't even know if I'm ever going to do it. It's too complicated. And it seems more risky than not. If it ever becomes not risky, then maybe. But it's like a lot of maintenance.
I was just kidding. Come on.
And I'm putting it through a fucking soft clipper. So it's all loud and shit.
I was just kidding. Come on.
Being... No, Epic, you're cis. That being straight has nothing to do with it. You can be straight and also trans. That's not... These are separate things.
Come on. You guys know I was just kidding, right?
And then, drop 2. Let's go. Awesome. We're moving on. So, I remember somebody, and by somebody I mean Gamma Cry, if you're lurking in here, show your fucking face, telling me that... Oh my god, it's Ethan Gamer 37. Telling me that you couldn't do... during Pride Month drop with super saws that had anything besides stacked fifths. And I thought that was kind of dumb because you can absolutely do a chord progression if you just know how to make chords. You know, but we're going top down, aren't we? Which, everything's kind of the same. Bye again. Bye-bye. Leave a like before you go. It'd be nice. It's the same drop as before with a different snare. But I also put it through... I was in a call with Tifu at this time, and then she told me to put it through a granulizer for, like, some cool, like, effects. And I got this thing. And that's pretty cool. As, like, a nice little fade-in, sort of, before the snare hits. And I put the mono... snare fill here because I don't know, I didn't want to hard pan it this time. Without my glasses, the translucent cover art looks like the Joker looking sad in like a JoJo's art style. It's okay. Hey, I like how my penguin has like invisible eyes. It's pretty swaggy. It's just the eyes looking up, but they're underneath the bangs, and you can barely make them out right here. It looks cool. It looks pretty cool. Nice optical illusion. I have 3 trans guy friends, I'm assuming, and one swears he isn't gay, but he's hella attracted to guys. It happens to the best of us. It's the same as the intro. The exact same as the intro. Nothing remarkable. And I think the bass is the same too. No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Never mind. The pattern's a bit more, I don't know, complex. But this bass was what I was going to use initially. It is being affected slightly by the master. But whatever. Listen to someone who knows less than you. Sometimes I can help. So this bass is the good old patented distorted saw bass that I have in my default template for FL Studio. Why do you spell it sour? That's not sour candy. Chill. But fucking whatever. It's noise in a saw. It's not complicated. With some tube. Awesome. Yeah, sick. Fucking whatever. Put it through the thing to make the low end consistent. And then decrease the fuck out of the 300 and then, you know, kind of fuck with the mids for some reason. I don't know. Here you go. Here you go. And then we're layering it over this, which was the thing from that footwork section, or no, the jersey section, I mean. Which I'm pretty sure I made it here, and then I just decided to put it in here. So that it would, you know, sound fatter there, but it did already go over this. So, we just kind of move on. And it sounds nice with the bass, and it clips into each other, and wait, the master's off, actually. There we go. A bit less gritty, but more cohesive. Right. So the super saw stuff, you know, it's the fembread, it's the classic. These saws are in my default template. Octave apart, 8 voices. The higher octave has more detune than the lower one. We keep it on linear, no OTT, and I'm just EQing it like this is all the detune goodness. This is the like the low sort of kind of bass layer. We don't really need this high end. We can bring it in with the other oscillator, and then we decrease 300 to make it feel subbier. Check the server for what I saw at a distance with no glasses. What the fuck? Like delusional. It might look schizo. It does look schizo. I will tell you. It looks like someone's following you. It looks fucking... Right. Now the chords themselves, it's just very big, sort of... Instead of having the 5th be the first note, it's the major 7th. And then... No, wait. That's the... Fucking... That's the 3rd. Jesus Christ. The major 7th, the 3rd, then the 5th. And then 6, 7. You know, very close together. Super cool sounding. And then, fucking... Right. The second chord's a nice transition chord. As this, it goes like da da. You know, nice and dissonance before it goes into this. This 2, 3, 4, minor 7th, and then a 9. You know, super nice sounding. And then we have a second oscillator, a second serum, which is strictly clean sounding. So that there's more fidelity with the notes. If you don't know what those fucking numbers mean, learn intervals, okay? And learn what a 5th is, what a 3rd is, and what a 7th is. A major or minor 7th, you know? It's pretty simple stuff, actually. And I'm dead serious. It wasn't that hard to grasp, because it's like stuff that if you're paying attention to, you already kind of hear. It's breaking it down that's more complex. I'm not thinking actively, oh, I want a fucking 6, 7, 9 chord. Like it. No, but I don't want like a 6, 7, 9 chord, like, you know, so like that. I just kind of place the notes and already know what sounds good. So I'm just breaking it down to like explain what it means, but I'm just like, I just kind of make that chord because I like the way this specific chord sounds all the time, and I'm like, oh, I want some dissonance, and dissonance is usually like 2 notes together. Dissonance, which can sound nice and messy. Wait. You know, if you induce it in the right way. I can't see that emoji. So for the clean saw, hi Yowie Butt, we are doing the exact opposite EQ of the detune saw. So it basically, it just completes the, you know, instead of taking away the 300, I increase 300. Instead of increasing the mids, I decrease them, and then I increase the high ends. So it, you know, makes up for what the other one got, you know, it just like fucking, they blend together quite nicely. So you can still hear the notes being played, but it's also nice and messy. God fucking damn it. Yo, I hear excuse you. Yeah, get fucked. What are we out here assuming for? In the big 2-6, in the middle of the big 2-6, mind you, during Pride Month. Like, come on. How much worse can it get? So, I take both of these. The big 6-7, yeah. I take both of these and then I clip them together. And then I take that clipped version and slightly increase the high end. And now we have a nice big super saw. Cool. Cool. And then I have this thing on top of it. Which is essentially just 2 oscillators, detunes, with a lot of vibrato. To make it sound even messier and more detunes. It looks slow because of how fast it's going, you know, and it's on bipolar, and I control the depth of this macro. You know. Which not only is it done in the original song, but like, you know, to explain the purpose of this, it just kind of guides your ear towards the lead voice of the chord. Right, and then for the second half, I have a higher octave. And then I have this like slot machine thing happening for the kick clap section. Do you need to be a certain age to be in a nursing home? What if I just walk into one and tell them to take care of me right now? You should try it. Film it and then post it in the Discord so we can see how it goes. Because I too am curious. Because what if that is the way you solve the housing crisis? It could work. There's a method there. Said Tua instead of Tifu. It's not how you spell it. Hakatifu. This thing is I call this the Nitrofun lead because I would hear Nitrofun use it a lot. But I guess nowadays you could call it the realer lead. Fucking. Where basically it just goes up an octave and then, but like really quickly. And you can get fancier and make it change wavetable positions as well. But you don't really have to do all that. And then it's going up in a pentatonic scale. And with like, I just take it, and then I move the next note in the pentatonic scale on top of itself. So it just. Slot machine. Frat night. Sorry. No, don't be. Pentatonic. Yeah, the pentatonic scale does sound kind of Chinese. I said this to my friends. He made an ARP in pentatonic because his brain is very pentatonic when it comes to melodies. It's really weird. I'm all like 7th, 9th upper extension. He's all pentatonic. Octaves, fifths. He made like a pentatonic ARP. It was like fucking, it was like this, right? And then we moved some of the notes to be more like dissonance. And then we're like, oh, now it sounds black. That was the fucking joke. That was the whole joke. And that was the crossroads, either black or Chinese. And suddenly that dude on Twitter feels very vindicated. Vindicated. It's in the shade of pasta. Yeah. Super cool. So, can we bring back Chinese guy with glasses? He's always here if you believe. Here's who looked like if you were Tifu or Chinese. Yeah. They're pentatonic washing my music. Alright. The percussion for the drop is basically exactly the same as it was before. Except I do like a nice little cheeky Game & Watch walking, and then I'm pretty sure that's what happens when you get star KO'd in Melee. And then this thing, except just the last part of it, like that. And then I do a little, just to get a little custom with the snare. And then for the fill this time around, Game and watch me take your bitch. Bars. It's some random, I forget where this is from. Oh, it's Yoha, hello. And then this is what it sounds like when you throw something in Melee. I'm pretty sure. And I'm doing the same fucking thing I did before with the vocal. Like before, like... Yeah, same sound on N64. Oh yeah, probably. Why do we have 206 bones when we could just have one? Fun fact, I learned we had 206 from some Roblox game where you'd throw yourself down the stairs and break as many bones as possible. It was a pretty fun gameplay loop, and it was quite old. It's back when Roblox games still had that black bar in the top with messages. Like server-wide messages. You know? I'll need ball knowledge. Yeah, I played when I made my account in like 2011 or 2012. Come on. Which, to me, isn't even old gen. If you're post 2010, you're not really old gen. It's like mid gen, you know? That shit is not ball. It's pretty famous, you know? But it's kind of ball nowadays, you know, if you're like younger. You want to hear ball knowledge? And it's just the dodgeball sound effect. I played it when I was 6. Yeah, exactly. So for you, it's probably ball knowledge. I played it when I was 9. So that's 3 grades above, which is practically a whole different generation. Murder Island 2. Yeah. And then for this, I just copied the tom from earlier. And instead of doing 3, I did 2. Instead of doing a da-da-da, it's more like a simple gallop, you know, to be different. I am doing a bit more like kick roll in this section as well. I start playing a ride in the second half. Gen Alpha core, even though y'all despise my generation. I don't even think you're Alpha yet. I don't know. What did they have gay sex in the Among Us movie? Not surprised. Are you? Why does no one like you when you're 23? It's an awkward age. You want to be grown, but you don't want to be grown. You're still holding on to the past. But you're like out of college, and you know, it's like college era dissonance. What do you mean? Are you? Am I what? I'm not sidechaining the ride because why would you do that? A lot of the time you don't want to do that anyway. I'm gonna stay in college forever. You said are you and that's it. I said, are you surprised? Do you have any context clues? If I put my hands behind above, sorry, fuck. If I put my hands in front of my face, do I disappear for you? Why do they have gay sex in the Among Us movie? I said, are you surprised? Like, I'm not surprised. Are you? That's what I said. I'm not surprised. Are you? There you go. You want me to repeat it myself? I'm not surprised. Are you? Anyway, this fucking kick clap sound effect. Wait, no, dickhead. I'm trying to click fast real quick. No, fucking dickhead. This fucking thing. It's just a lot of high ends. It's like, I don't know what kick and what clap I used, but I now have this in my like personal pack that I just added in. Whatever. Why do you keep saying what? Hop on Koi? What the fuck? You want to hear ball knowledge again? Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so fucking hop on Koi. No, I'm not that old actually. I'm a Bedrock player. So what's it called? What am I doing again? Dick me would pronounce. Why do you keep saying dickhead? I'll say something else. I don't know. I don't have an explanation. Sometimes I just have certain words I say a lot. You know? Catchphrases, just your general vernacular, you know, the words you choose to say. Da da da. Like, damn. Shit, I don't know. It's just one of mine. There you go. Say knobhead. That would be appropriating culture that's not mine, so I won't. I do say scheisse sometimes though, so maybe I should get on that wave. But everything else about this, like the samples, besides some of the fills, are all the same as they were before. You swear like a has-been hotel character. I don't think you watch the show. I think you just say I swear a lot. So I don't watch the show either, but I know you don't. I know you're being a poser and you're just trying to say that I swear a lot because you don't swear a lot. I'm just from a part of the country that swears a lot in general conversation, all right? So, yeah, I know you don't. I clocked you. Because it's ass. You don't know it's ass. You don't watch it. Don't do that here. Don't do that here. No politic here. Personally, I don't like some of the jokes that I see just because I think they're whatever. I think the fan base is pretty cringe. But, like, I think the show is whatever. I just don't watch it myself. When I was younger, I only played on cracked servers and I had a dream about playing on Hypixel. Huh. Oh, yeah, because, like, you couldn't play Hypixel if you had, like, confiscated accounts. Seen a couple episodes and it's shit. Awesome. Good for you. Good. I mean, it probably is. I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying I don't know. I'm not going to speak on something I don't know. You know? Maybe that's bad streamer etiquette. Maybe I should be speaking definitively about things I don't know. Maybe I should have more opinions on things to rile the people. So for this fuck-ass footwork section... It's just Drake. It's just Drake. Or I should say redacted. Multiple retro slop. Games got taken off Roblox, but Ender Dingus got to stay. Yay, more horror games. What is a retro slop game to you? Because I think that term doesn't mean anything. Actually. Well, it means something. It definitely means something. And it's an appropriation of like culture that kind of never really existed. The aesthetic isn't terrible. You know, and let these kids have fun. But what is a retro slap game? Is it just a recreation of an old game? Is that what it is? Or like what? I'd like to know. So I'm going to get super claimed for this, but I really don't care. So first, I decrease the gain before doing any compression, so I don't have to decrease it as much. And then we compress a lot to mitigate the fact that the vocal's kind of lossy. So I just squash it and suddenly it's good again. Flattening the high ends. And the low end too. And the low end too. And then we bit crush it. I mean, whatever. And then we put it through an EQ and a de-esser. With a focus on like this mainly and the low mid, which makes the voice sound bassy. Retro styled, but including newer things like Sab. What is that also? And also, what is retro style? Like just has like the fucking like the bricks everywhere. Although most games didn't look like that, like past 07. Which is probably when these kids were born. But whatever. We make it sound good, Iser. Oh yeah, the stud blocks, exactly. Like every single thing has like stud blocks on it. That's kind of funny and also kind of a horrible trend. I hate it. Because a lot of games weren't like that. Some were, but a lot weren't. You know, if you want a real retro slop game or whatever, you have that black bar in the top that has messages, like you're playing the old version of the Titanic, and then you have like the gray window that covers your entire screen that has text in the center that appears for more important server messages. You do that shit. You know, R6 only, because fuck R15, all the way to hell and back. I stopped playing when they started forcing you to use R15 for everything. And then they started making even worse changes, and I stopped playing more. And then now I fundamentally disagree with the game as a whole, and I haven't played in months. And I refuse to touch it because I refuse to become a statistic for somebody who still plays the game. Because as long as the numbers are still good, then the decisions they make are agreed with. You vote with your wallet, and your usage of a service is your wallet. And it sucks that there aren't many other games like it. So it's not like you can just replace it with something else. That I get. But, like, damn, I wish when people had a spine. You know? But whatever. Boy in the striped pajamas. I make it a little bit louder. You know, whatever. Then I make it stereo. And then I mid-side by compressing the side and increasing the gain. And I thought it sounded weird, so I flipped the polarity of the side signal. So it just sounds more side-y, I guess. And then this is for the filter sweep at the ends. There you go. And then when it gets to this section, it's the first time I decide to actually just play the acapella all through.
Wait for me. Nobody likes you when you're 23. And I'm still more amused by TV shows. What the hell is ADD? My friends say I should act my age. What's my age again?
You know, but specifically the part of the song that has like the harmonies and not just the solo vocal, because it sounds more interesting with the harmonies. And then I have this shit going through DearVR Micro, which if I wanted to be cooler, I would put it way later in the chain. So it's more accurate. And by accurate, I mean like it sounds more like it's literally circling your head. That's the entire point of this plugin. It's meant to be binaural. Because it's not just like panning left and right and center. It's like in order for something to sound binaural, it has to be in one ear with a bit of a reflection in the other to mimic someone being in the room with you on your left side, but you still hear their voice kind of bounce off the wall to the right of you. I hate Discord, but I like being social on the internet. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's not much other places to go because all of the internet socializing things have been consolidated to like 2 or 3 games. So I genuinely thought I heard Gubby this, Gubby that. That's really funny. That means you didn't hear the original song and you have no culture. So sorry, I don't make the rules. But can I be in a room with you? Yeah, just fucking walk over here. No, swim over here is what you gotta do. But yeah, it's like meant to be like a binaural. I don't even know how to fucking spell it. I always pronounce it wrong. I think I read it wrong once, and I have been saying it wrong all my life. But whatever. It's one of those. I think it's binaural. Yeah, it's binaural, not binaural. It's binaural. But yeah, it's supposed to be binaural. Bi-oral, like audio. Yeah, binaural. But I always forgot the A after the N, so I read it as binaural. But yeah, or by Yanny, exactly. But yeah, whatever. Like how people would be like, oh, 8D audio. Like this is kind of the plugin that you would use for that, or one of them. There are many others, but yeah. Kraftwerk. Fem's address got leaked one time because of Miss Puff Lufa. No, my IP got leaked because of Miss Puff Lufa. Then I had to edit that VOD so that I wouldn't have it. Right, I'm gonna sleep and stuff that people do in bed. Oh yeah, that, yeah. Okay, and your whole everything got leaked from a CAPTCHA. Again, IP address. Yeah, everything got leaked. Jesus Christ. Do you have any, like... Alright, I'm gonna not get on your ass about being tech savvy. But whatever. Anyway, I got my face, full name, and zip code leaked before. That's really funny. What's the term? Like internet? Yeah, like internet safety. Fucking. There's a term for it. Not OPSEC, but like, or OPSEC. It's some other shit. I don't know. I forget. But basic internet safety has no, not being doxxed. Fucking Christ. The way in which you would conduct yourself to not be doxxed. You know? Any tech literacy. Most people's tech literacy has been eroded post-COVID because they just expect their shit to work and they click on any fucking link they find. Or, you know, they get socially engineered by somebody who hacked into their friend's account and they don't realize that their friend's been hacked and whatever. And then, you know, they're just like, hey, try my plugin or my program or my fucking... my skin pack or my resource pack for Minecraft, and then boom, token grabbed everything, you know, cookie logged sometimes. Even for Roblox, it's cookie logged. You get fucked if you get cookie logged. Anyway, this fucking thing, which is from like a really classic like Jersey Club song, but I couldn't figure out where it was from, so I ripped it from the original. Not the original. I ripped it from the Pride Month flip itself, and then I decreased the pitch so that it would be. It's on Who Sampled. Wow. Anyway, I made sure the pitch matched the this version of the song, like the slowed down version, so that when I sped up the entire thing here, it would match the original. You know, I didn't speed it up, but like if you ever wanted to like match the pitch and resample it, you could. So I'm doing a bit of EQ and soft clipping, you know, and then right, and then fucking this fucking section. Data sentence got, yeah, his sentence got commuted, which is really funny. Just really fucking funny, because of course it did. So this SpongeBob clip,
I don't really feel like it.
I chopped it to be kind of on beat at least, so that, you know, it's not like you lose the beat when this happens. I didn't want to add like an actual build up, so I got lazy.
I don't really feel like it.
So what I did, he's a retro celebrity, what do you expect? Yeah, but I mean, it's in a Trump era, which I think is the important part. Because I think any other president wouldn't allow a gang rapist to walk a free man. Because basically he was responsible, large in part responsible for the feud between Biggie and Tupac that got him killed. Both of them killed, if anything. And he's there when Biggie died. He was up there dancing to fucking whatever song that was. I forget. For some reason, it's leaving my head right now. You know, in memory of the dude. Like, it's not just the dirty parties, you know? Like, he's an evil person. He's an evil person. But I guess all the shit that he's officially charged for isn't enough to... No, that's not why you should be apolitical. That's exactly why you should be radicalized. It's the opposite. It's not why you should be apathetic and not care. That's not why you should be apathetic and not care. It's why you should be the exact opposite. And you should stand for something. And encourage those around you to stand for something. But actually stand for something. Not just stand for the concept of standing for something. I'm too young for this stuff, man. That's fine. Learn about stuff so that when you're old enough to act, you can. Otherwise, you're just letting life happen to you. And then bad shit happens and you're just, yeah, whatever. You can learn about the world, you know. The internet, it's still free, kind of. For you, it is, especially because your parents pay the Wi-Fi bill. But it's free. You know? And you can get around all the AI hallucinations and just look at shit. Look shit up. There's videos out there that can tell you about the worlds and what's currently going on, why it's happening, how we got here. You know? That'll help. Because, like, it just does no good to anyone around you to be ignorant. You know? However, yes, you can argue. It'll stress you out to know about the world. But I'd rather be knowledgeable and stressed than willfully ignorant and just let shit happen to me. You know? Or let shit happen in the world. Right? They want you to be apathetic. They want you to not care. So do the exact opposite. Anyway, add stereo to this shit.
I don't really feel like it.
Pretty appropriate for SpongeBob to say that. That's you right now. But what's it called? And then I
don't really feel like it.
add stereo. Again, I just increase the side. What are you broing? Are you afraid to stand for something? Does it freak you out? Did you think I was apathetic and apolitical?
I don't really feel like it.
I add high end. No. Okay. And then I clip it. Was Biden the only good president? Biden was nothing of a president. The administration did shit for him. He ran the debt hot. Real hot. To make things okay now for his image. And kind of shit later. You know. And Trump is infinitely worse, by the way. Infinitely worse. Infinitely worse. Biden, like, you know, like we were kind of like, you know, reeling in inflation. Still ran the economy mad hot, but we were reeling in inflation. You know? A little bit. It was trending in a different direction than it otherwise would have been post-COVID. He didn't really save us, but we didn't fucking lose the country because of him. We might lose a country. Now. So, you know. Whatever. It's just it's more of the center left establishment who likes claiming they're left, running things behind the scenes and letting him go up and, you know, be a puppet. Which is the same thing that's happening, but for the right wingers. You know, Big Zoe for Prez. Yeah, just change the rules. We need that to happen because why? This is fucking whatever. Anyway, clip it. Sound good, Isaiah.
I don't really feel like it.
Anyone watching the VOD is now annoyed at what is all this political shit. I don't want to fucking skip this. They're spamming the right arrow.
I don't really feel like it.
We high pass it and then we add some. I don't know why there's delay. I think I just like. I think I wanted to put delay on, but then I just didn't. So I don't know. It's there for no reason.
I don't really feel like it.
More compression. More mid side.
I don't really feel like it.
I think this is stolen from some other like patch, and then I just like slightly altered it. That's why there's like the jersey and this delay thing. And then I'm also fading in this not fading in, but I'm playing the beeps from the what the fuck boom. And then this is gonna beat the go. Kick time. So, kick number 1 is, I'm pretty sure, just this kick right here. Which is... but tuned down, so it's... you know, it's like that. And then I put it through a bunch of shit to get it to sound like that. Step 1 was taking that kick and putting it through a distortion, and then I put it through an EQ to give it a tone, and then I put it through a distortion, and then I clipped it, and then I wanted to put delay on it so that I could like give it room, but it didn't really work. Hey guys, I'm here too. Hi HexQJ. Welcome. I'm pretty sure I took I didn't take like the whole kick and just render it out. Here, let me... that's how it sounds before like any actual like processing, I think. Let me just make sure I'm right. Yeah, that's the result you get after doing all that. It would go from nothing to this. To this. With this EQ, that's meant to like, you know, give you a tone, and then another distortion. And then... yeah, there is this little like note thing here, which is giving it that. Which kind of disappears under this clipper, but it's still there. And then afterwards, I like EQ it a little bit and bring the gain way up, then clip it. And then... what was that, bro? That's what that was, bro. But then I take that and then I render it out, and no, like the noise you made it earlier. That was it. That was it. I just told you what that noise was. Are you listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth, or is it all just like... okay, whatever. Oh, Har, this is insane sound design. Thank you, What Jack. Also, welcome. How long were you here? Did you hear the whole fucking political rant? We render it out to audio, put it through a sampler, and then just, you know, put this envelope on it so that I could just... you know, a minute, yes. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And it's the same process for the next one. And luckily I have the kick here, the original kick, for demonstration purposes. Which is like a default FL kick. These are all default FL kicks. Oh wait, that's... oh, I changed this so it was 3. I fucking ruined it. Oopsies. That's unfortunate. It's kind of unfortunate. The idea was, everything that's here is meant to be back a little bit so that it creates the duh, as opposed to the duh, you know. But it is the beginning of the kick for the talk, and then the tail is like way farther into the kick, as you can see there if I extend it back. But the idea is the same. Well, I took a transient shaper to make it like sharper when it came in. Distortion, and then EQ to target the tone, and then distortion, and then we clip it, and I guess clip it again, and then EQ it so it's like bassy, but still has that tone so that I can clip it again. And then EQ it again. It kind of sounds different because I didn't use this kick for that EQ. But like I fucked it up when I was trying to preserve the patches. But whatever. It's meant to sound like that, actually. And then I have this sort of, which is just a random ass big cashmere snare, and then this thing that's like time stretched to fit. And that EQ I showed you was for this. This kick, which is another, again, I only really use default FL kicks to like process. I don't know why it's here. It should be in 24. Yeah. Ow, sorry. Right. And so it's the same thing, except I would slightly alter mainly the second distortion, then like the tone knob and dial that so that it targets the EQ that I made before, which is all of this resonance shits right at that note specifically. A little bit of bass increase because that changes the way the distortion reacts. As you make these kicks, just changing how much bass comes in and high end comes in does affect how the distortion handles the tone itself and things like that. But before I like clip it and EQ it, you know, it's like that. I did choose a different kick for the talk and then the tail. Like this kick sounds like, with the distortion it sounds like oh, shut the fuck up. With the distortion it sounds like when that basketball dude comes from the sky in a regular show. It's pretty funny. But at the end of that kick is like there's like a more consistent note, which is nice. That I then use for the tail. Uh-oh. There we go. It is pretty piercy, but then it gets clipped pretty fucking hard. And then it gets clipped again pretty fucking hard. And then it gets EQ'd. A little bass increase, a little decrease of the shit that's already ringing out pretty hard. And then, you know, put to the sampler. Ow, sorry. And then kick number 4 is my favorite, obviously. You know, they get louder and louder each time. This kick, the reason why this one and, well, actually this whole section sounds fucking, I'm gonna go drink Coke. Fun. Maybe drink water, but yeah, sure, Coke, I guess. The reason why all these kicks sound pretty loud is because I take off a saturation that's on the master, which would limit the gain otherwise, you know, and make the distortion a little less harsh, which I want it to be harsh. So for this kick, it is fucking stupid is what this is. And I remember, so it's pretty consistent, the note itself. Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck did I do? Okay, so for this kick, I put like 4 transient shapers on here, which are all doing the same exact thing, except for the last one, which has the max speed. And the idea is to make the talk sound as loud as possible. Ow, no, wait, not all of that yet, not all of that yet. It gives the talk like this distortion, you know? And we're gonna skip this EQ for now. We put it through the distortion like usual. You know, and then I want it to have a really, really high sort of target, and then I put that through distortion, which mainly, like the tone isn't targeting the frequency where the tone's located, but wherever I set it, and also the symmetry, just kind of lets that ring out. I'm gonna go eat. Bye. Bye-bye. I'm almost done here, I promise, but I hope the food's good. Let me clip it. You know? And I'm just like, I feel like I can do better. For some reason, it's not hitting the way I want it to. You know? And my solution for that was copying this EQ and putting it before the first distortion. And that just solved my problems instantly. There it is. Super loud, obnoxious, what the fuck sort of kick. And then we take that, and then we would EQ it like this for some reason. To like even out the tone, sort of. I'm back. Welcome back. And then we clip it real hard. And then we take that and take away some of the 300, so it's nice and bassy. And then, you know, we put that through the sampler again. And that's that. Now, to make it sound crazier, I'm layering vocals on top of it.
That's about the time she walked away. Magazine, paper, girl, the money ain't the issue.
Ow, why is it like that? Did I turn something on by accident? I could leave it like that for shits, but no. It gives it some nice high end and a lot more noise and makes things sound way crazier, as you can barely hear Drake trying to come through. Are you going to add it to members? Yes, absolutely. After I added the two from before that I didn't get. It's because no one, I'm going to be so honest, it's because no one asks me, so I feel no pressure to. I'm like, man, nobody fucking cares. Like, and I get all like emo about it. But I definitely will. I will add this. So you'll have the patchers that contain the original chains, except for kick number 2, because I fucked up, that contain the original processing chains for those kicks, as well as everything else. But yeah, I'm just adding the Drake vocal in with no extra processing or anything. Just fucking slapped it there for some more noise. But ask for those two. Well, you're in luck. I'm gonna do it like tonight. Santa's coming tonight. Because it's after I end the stream, it's gonna be 3:30 in the morning, and I'm gonna want to go to bed. But I'll do it first thing in the morning when I wake up, because now there's demand. Which is a little backwards. You would think that if I was a better person, I wouldn't care about that. But I get depressed. So that's my, not really excuse, but more like explanation, if that makes sense. So I'm adding in the vocal of this thing.
23.
The same chop as before. I was going to make it louder, like this. I probably should have, actually. For some reason, I felt like it took away some of your attention from the kicks, but it kind of doesn't really. And then I'm doing the Dear VR micro shit again with the vocal, with the other vocal. And then, you know, super loud, clipped, pretty much dry, what the fuck boom. And for the outro, I was very lazy for the outro. I just selected the dude who started packing Miss Mary. Shut the fuck up, you nasty bitch. I don't know the fuck you jump my site, you little nasty ass N-word. Shut your little bitches up, you dirty bitch. Who the fuck is this long-headed ass little jawbreaker looking ass N-word named Miss Mary? You know? And I can't say it. It's just the way I talk all the time makes you think I can't. So I don't want to put any weird juxtapositions in your head and, you know, have someone go like fucking, yeah, Javer says Miss Mary. There you go. I didn't know who was doing it, but I know who it was directed towards. But yeah. And then I just put the tag for my alt account here.
Fakies
because if you ever listen to Fakey, that's me.
Fakey.
Yeah, that's it.
What the fuck is this long head ass, long jawbreaker looking ass nigga?
Fakey.
That's it. That's it, really. And And I guess I'll just go over the master now. And I'll go over the master with the loudest part of the song. Not like the loudest part of the song, but the part of the song that actually matters. So like... Right. So the master, normally I would do some like EQing to tame some of the more annoying frequencies and be a little surgical about it, maybe roll off some unnecessary high ends. But this is doing most of the rolling off of the high ends, and the way that I mixed everything was good enough first go. So I didn't really need to do anything like crazy. So with nothing, it just sounds like... It's leveled fine. It sounds good, you know? But I wanted everything to be more cohesive, for the sub to sound like it's clipping into everything else without being overbearingly loud and like super muddy. And I would achieve that with a limiter and you turn the saturation all the way down. So you get like a more tamed sort of clip sound. And then a bit of a soft clipper too, which is kind of doing the same thing, but not really. You can barely tell. And then after the saturation, the gain gets a little decreased, which, I mean, I'm hitting like -4 anyway. No, I'm hitting -2 in this section. So it's like, you would think, why am I increasing the gain? 'Cause why not? Not because I want to hit like a high score in volume level loudness, but just because I want it to clip hard while still having the benefits of soft clipping, right? The cohesion that everything has while still being loud as shit. It was mainly targeted at this section, because without it, it's kind of whatever, like... It's actually -4, which I'm pretty sure most of the Daria songs are from like ranging from like -4 to -2. Like nothing goes crazy. But I like my shit loud. And if it's mixed well, when you push the volume, nothing really juts out at you in terms of clipping too hard, you know? It's leveled fine. So you can get away with increasing the gain a little bit. Most people who make hyperflip or dariacore or anything would just do use a G clip, which has an input gain anyway. But I don't think I need to download another fucking plugin to do what I can do with default plugins anyway. So like, you know, it's fine. And then we hit like... You should be looking at integrated whenever you're measuring loudness. But most people look at short term and it's like whatever. But it's -2, which is still good. There's only 2 people in the stream. For future reference, never tell me how many people are in the stream, and I don't care if it's only you. Thanks. It's nice. It's just polite, because I really don't care if it's 2 or 2 million. I stream like people are watching anyway. And at the end of everything, I just hard clip it. Just straight up hard clip it, because, you know, fuck your ears, I guess. But it works, you know. It works for me. It works for the song. My bad, bro. Less with that, thanks. But it's okay. I forgive you. You didn't know. I'm just telling you so you know. And now you know. And that's the whole song. That's it. Yeah, that's beginning to end. The whole thing. I thought it would take a lot less time to break this down, but there are a lot of sounds and a lot of different sections doing a lot of different things, you know, and it's a different take on a classic. Sounds pretty similar to the classic, but it is very much the way I would go about doing it, you know, with my own little tips and tricks and techniques and things like that. And I will be giving this to members in the morning because I'm going to go to bed after this. I'm pretty tired despite how caffeinated I sound. I just, you know, I'm pretty good about putting on that face for stream. And this went 3 hours. I didn't want it to go for 3 hours, but it went for 3 hours. And Shit. But whatever, you know. Hopefully any VOD watchers can get some use out of this. Thank you for sticking around, whoever did, till the end. I doubt it was anyone except for you, one chatter. But yeah, on Thursday, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to stream. I don't know if I'll stream. I'll try to stream, but like, you know, after doing all these breakdown streams, it's hard for me to just go back to my regular bullshit where I just kind of make something up and do that. But I'll figure it out. And it'll be all good. If you're not in the Discord, join that up. Please support me on Bandcamp. I am dirt poor. I have 64 cents in my bank account, and I'm not joking. And yeah, I'll see you on Thursday at midnight. Technically Friday, whatever. Okay, bye-bye.